VikesNow, I am Dustin Baker, and I'm here with Sal Spice. Sally, we are 9 days away from Vikings Giants, and I'm going to get all of your takes on that. But foremost, how have you been this week?
I've had a good week. I've been super busy. I started school again this week, so it's just been, and I'm working on a project. I've had a lot of changes in a short amount of time, but it's been good. It's good to be busy.
Outside of Gophers football, of course.
Well, I actually am not a Gophers fan.
Okay.
Full disclosure, my friend Nadine hosts a
hmm
tailgate for Leukemia Lymphoma Society, so I go to support that to the tailgate. I did not end up going to the game.
Okay. So to
Okay.
clarify, you're not a Gopher hater, but you're just not a super fan. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
hmm
tried to get into it after I moved here. Obviously, I didn't really grow up with a college football team. Like my college didn't have a football team.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, sure, I'll adopt this one. And no offense to any Gopher fans out there, but as a casual, it's been a little difficult to really get that into it. So a couple years ago, I was just like, I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah, I went
Oh,
there for my school and I never got too excited about football in general. Hockey is where it's at, and sometimes every now and then basketball. All
yeah,
right, so the Gophers, if viewers haven't found out, they got the missed kicking demons out of the way for the Vikings. They missed the game-winning kick from 47 yards away, which is pretty long in college, and they're 0-1, losing to the Tar Heels of North Carolina. But we're going to talk about Vikings football on Vikes now. The Giants and Vikings will show down Sunday, September 8th, and it's an even pick'em spread. Those are somewhat rare in the NFL, especially out of the gate. So there is no favorite, but I want to pick Sally's brain about things that she's excited about watching that game and things she's nervous or worried about. So I'm guessing you have a little list there. Let's kind of intermix these. What is the first
yeah.
thing that you're like, hell yes, I am excited for this?
Well, honestly, I mean, I can't believe it's time
Mm-hmm.
already. Like this is crazy. It just snuck up. Honestly, most of what I am excited about is also what I'm really nervous about. I had a difficult time like deciphering because I'm so back and forth on how I feel about this team.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'm like they're going to defy all expectations and they're going to definitely get in the playoffs, and the next day I'm like, so I would say what I am most excited about is finally having some answers about what Sam Darnold looks like at quarterback for
Mm-hmm.
this team. Whether it's good or bad, at least now we are going to finally have a decent idea, a lot of evidence of what it's going to look like. So I'm excited to answer some of those questions.
Yeah, getting a look at Darnold is going to. I keep thinking about this game now that we're so close. I kind of switched the button of off-season mode off about a week ago, and it'll be so strange that no Kirk Cousins is under center because he's been the guy since 2018. But it'll also be so familiar that we have a Darnold like veteran that is the solution, at least for a season, because that's what the Vikings have always been, especially pre Kirk, outside of Bridgewater and Culpepper in our adult lifetime. So, in that vein, I'm excited too to see what Darnold can do. And this is kind of his last best chance to prove he's a QB1. If he thrives here, he's probably auditioning for a different team next year, you would think. The thing that really sucks, Sally, is that if he's Sam Darnold and not that good, it's going to be a long ride because we don't have the alternate like, hey, it's week 6, we can go to the young guy because his meniscus was torn.
Right. That is, and I mean, and I think we talked about this last time I was on. That can possibly be a good thing for
Mm-hmm.
Sam's mental state that he doesn't have that breathing down his neck. But at the same time, like you just said, it could be a very long season if it's not going well, or if heaven forbid he gets injured. Then, I mean, what's next? It's
See, I like Nick Mullins, I really do, but I don't want a stupid quarterback carousel. I want Darnold to play well enough that they're competitive and we don't have to decide or think about every Thursday, hey, is it going to be Darnold or Mullins? We saw last year that got old really quick. So with Darnold, the thing that I will continue to tell viewers for the next 9 days is this isn't quite like, hey, let's see if the guy's any good. The guy has the talent. He has the arm talent. There is no doubt about that. That's why he was drafted third overall. It's just that the turnovers have been his undoing. The interceptions and the fumbles, it's at a really bad rate with players that played consistently since he was drafted in 2018. So if O'Connell can fix that character trait, Sam Darnold can be good. That's really the only thing wrong with the guy is the turnovers. All right, so that's
Right.
something the upside of Sam Darnold will say. What is something that you're like, oh God, let's see how this works.
Oh God. Well, I guess this is more of a general thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the oh God is if they don't win this first game,
Oh yeah.
gonna be a really, really rough couple of months potentially. So, if they need to win this game to get the confidence out of the gate to go into these much more challenging matchups that they have, I mean, their season starts so top heavy
Mm-hmm.
that it could really snowball and get out of control if they don't get this one. Get this one. So that's more big picture, but I'm very nervous about that.
When we were formerly a part of the Believe in Vikings show, we talked
Mm-hmm.
about the Buccaneers in this exact light last year. We
Yep.
looked at the schedule, and at the time, the Buccaneers were in folks' power rankings about 25th, 26th. And right before kickoff, I remember you and I talking. I'm like, why is this team bad again? The Buccaneers, like you look at their roster, it's just kind of like the Vikings, like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. You're like, the roster's pretty good. And so
Mm-hmm.
I caution anybody that thinks, hey, they're playing the Giants. They look pretty shitty on Hard Knocks. Like, um, this is not an easy. I mean, this is why the point spread is even. Like the Vikings aren't even
Right.
favored. And if they can't beat the Giants, then you will step into murderer's row 0-1 because you have the 49ers and the Texans and is it the Packers
Yeah.
and the Jets and then the
And
Lions and it is unbelievably rough after the Giants game.
yeah, and I don't think until I think when we were looking at the schedule, I was like, I think they play the Colts on November 3rd, and that was the
Mm-hmm.
first one, which who knows if even that's a gimme, but anyway, like it's too far out to say, but that was the one I was like, all right, well maybe by then at home they can get one. So they really need to come out if they want to be competitive and win this game for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and on in sandwiched in between the ones that we just rattled off is Thursday night football at the Rams. And if you've been a Vikings fans for longer than a year or so, you're going to know that playing on the road in prime time or on the road in general is if it's not a noon game is usually a oh god, come on.
Yeah.
They just never ever act consistently on the road in prime time or on the road at 3 o'clock for that matter.
Well, and also that's right after that's London and then bye week, right?
Yep.
And then the third. So
No, I
that's
think it's the
also
Lions right after that, and then it's the Rams. I think.
oh, okay. I'm sorry. So it is a short week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never good. And Thursday night games in general just aren't usually great
hmm
anyway, for any team. So other than Kevin O'Connell, maybe getting a little revenge game motivation, I don't know how that'll go.
Yeah, it's weird to
Yeah,
think of
it's
that.
rough.
It's weird to think of that being kind of the spot where the schedule starts to lighten up at the Rams because you had just gone through London. It's also worth noting the Week 7 game against the Lions right after the bye is when we thought JJ McCarthy might start to nibble at taking over and possibly and TJ Hawkinson might be ready, although I think he's only out for 4 games per the pup designation. All right, so apprehensive about overlooking the Giants because they're the easy team on the schedule. What's
Yes.
another thing you're excited about?
Well, I mean, you just brought up Believe, and I've been thinking about our good pal Ron a
Mm-hmm.
lot this week because we don't have his Sam Darnold slander, nor do we have his Daniel Jones slander, and we could really use at least one of those right now.
Oh, that's right.
So, his two favorite punching bags. So I'm excited to see how this defense gets after Daniel Jones and what that's going to look like. How aggressive are they going to be? Now we have more personnel that fit Flores's schemes and who he wants. So I'm excited to see how that's going to go and if they can really get him off kilter early and take advantage of that.
And I think they'll need to because I was rudely reminded by watching Hard Knocks that the Giants' defensive line is just nasty good with Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and
Yeah.
they just got Brian Burns. So we're probably not going to have a cakewalk on offense. So on defense, Flores is going to have to do the thing and rattle Daniel Jones. And one of my bold predictions for the Vikings is by the time we get to mid-October or so, I think the Vikings, at least for a season, will be defined as a defense first enterprise that we're all pleasantly surprised that, oh my God, this is really working. It may not
Mhm.
light the scoreboard up on offense because of Darnold's big question mark, but that's one of my bold takes is that the defense will define the season. All right,
Yeah. It
excited
could
about.
be,
Mm-hmm,
I'm sorry, I was gonna say it could be a very low scoring game too.
mm-hmm.
It might just be back and forth and not a lot of offense.
Yeah, I hope it's not ugly. You remember that game, week one, 2015, against the 49ers? When it was just ghastly ugly. I think it was Monday Night Football.
Oh, yes, and it was the second Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's the one.
it didn't even start until like 10 p.m.
Yeah,
It was brutal. Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
The only
Yes.
lesson I learned from that game is that week one doesn't define your season because they got really good eventually after that game. But I remember thinking, oh God, this is ugly.
I forgot how bad that was. Yeah. And I skipped right over Giants Hard Knocks and have been watching the Bears.
Oh
I
yeah.
guess I just thought that's more interesting, but I need to go actually watch the Giants one and prepare for this. I totally flew over my head. It's like I want
That's
to see
for
Caleb Williams and how that's going, but
Yeah, that's for all viewers, the Giants one, or the recommendation, because if you're fascinated by free agency and the build up to the draft, how a team operates, they give you the full access. And even in that show,
oh,
Ron probably loved it because it was, I wouldn't say it was anti Daniel Jones, but they were very candid about their contingency plans if they keep saying if he gets hurt again, but I think it was also if he, sucks.
oh yeah, I got to tune into that. We'll have to have Ron on here maybe
Yeah.
after the game, after the
Keynote
game or
guest.
leading up for his quarterback analysis. He's in a tough spot. I bet he's going through
Yeah.
it.
All right, so we got, let's see, three more. That brings us to another one that you're worried or pessimistic about, a trait or a spot on the team against the Giants.
I don't know if I want to say it.
All
I
right,
don't
you're
know
in
if
a
I want to
safe
say it.
place.
I don't know if I want to say it because it's so negative. Because I don't know, I could spin this positively or negatively, but let's just say the way it's going. You kind of already brought it up to start the show. Um, I still have a little PTSD from the rookie kicker situation
Oh, okay.
of 2018. Was it? Yes,
Yep.
2018. And because I think this is going to be a low scoring game, it might come down to kicking.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to say it out loud, but you know what I'm inferring.
Hmm. So you have Will Reichert has not stolen your heart quite yet.
I don't know if any kicker ever will do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know if any kicker ever will.
I wonder how long Reichert or any guy would have to be good and dependable for us and everybody else to be like, no, we're good. I mean, that had to probably be years, right?
Well, how good was Blair? How long was Blair good?
Blair came in 2012, so
So
12, 13, 14, and most of the 15 season, so about 4 years.
yeah, because for a while there he was solid,
Hmm.
and then he's never the same
Well,
again.
he was solid. I tell this story. I think I used to tell this on the Belief Show. I tell this story somewhat frequently that that kick was so close that he missed against the Seahawks, and he was otherwise so good. Believe it or not, I didn't even consider him missing that in the dreaded cold that I was sitting
Oh
in.
yeah,
I didn't even think about, like, to my girlfriend and now wife, I didn't say, like, what if he misses it? And normally I would say that, like, this asshole is going to miss it. But I didn't
yeah,
even think that because it was so close and the guy was dependable. So I think we answered our question about at least 4 years before we're like, oh, we're good.
yeah, yeah. And I don't want to put that out there. I'm struggling to come with things that I'm concerned about because now, like I said, I've swayed to the positive side that they're going to be really good. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of nitpicking, and it's not fair to Will. It's just the PTSD.
Well, yeah, he was cold-blooded in the preseason and at training camp. So the onus is on us for to be proven wrong because the guy has looked really good. All right, a couple more. Another thing, a final thing that you are excited about for Vikings Giants.
Okay, let's see. Oh, running game. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see the running game, Aaron Jones, and see how all of that goes. Because as everybody knows, last year was rough. And they've been working on so many plays and everything that we've seen, the developing the play action, and I really want to see how creative KOC got with that and what it looks like.
Yeah, the ground game has been problematic for two straight seasons. They ranked 27th per DVOA in 2022, exact same ranking 27th last year. And I think you are as well. I'm an eternal Kevin O'Connell guy. But I swear, if they rank 27th again in rushing, I won't be that adamant against hot seat chatter for O'Connell, because the Vikings are never going to go anywhere if they can't run the football at an average clip. I don't need them to be like Zimmer and run first, but they need to
Mm-hmm.
be in the middle, because no team ever wins Super Bowls if their running game flat out sucks. Like, it's just not conducive to moving the sticks.
Yeah, I'm wondering, what do you think about that they really don't have a RB3? Like, what do you think about Kane getting cut? I was surprised by that.
Yeah, that was, aside from Jalen Redmond earning a roster spot, I would consider those two equivalent surprises. Yeah, Kane looked so good finally in the preseason as a halfback. And the Vikings, I thought, valued speed no matter where it was. So when and then he failed his physical at the Saints yesterday, which was really weird. Um, um,
Oh,
yeah, so he's a free agent now, and he'll have to prove his health before anybody takes the plunge. I bet you he goes with the Dolphins, like a team that just uses speed all the time. He's also from Texas, so the Cowboys would make sense. I was
is there
surprised.
any
Hmm?
rumor as to why he failed it?
No, there was no details yesterday or today about the specifics of the failed physical. Even the Saints reporters and beat writers were like, "What?" So
Oh,
you can positively spin it to say, "Hey, the Vikings knew," but I don't think it was quite that conspiratorial. I was shocked
wow.
because we thought the kickoff return rule would be tailor made for and Wong. Who there were some like Brevin Bain on this show who said a couple times that the new kickoff rule is not going to be about straight line speed. It's going to be like, shifty, and like which wide receiver or running back can like break a run out of like the pack. Sometimes, as Kane could do 3 times, you just outrun people. And the way this new scheme is designed, the kickoff returns is a little bit more complicated.
Gotcha. Yeah, that one caught me by surprise. I thought he would get mixed in some this year. So,
They
um,
already added Myles Gaskin back to the practice
yeah.
squad and basically announced that he's the kick returner. And then Dwayne McBride is back on the practice squad. So the two running back fear from Tuesday, like, what are they doing? Did they forget something? That was
Yeah.
kind of dampened, but they were really high at their press conference on Myles Gaskin yesterday. I mean, whether or not that's good is debatable, but he is their RB3.
Were you surprised they didn't pick anybody up on
Yeah,
waivers?
but I've been surprised about that for multiple positions. Like, I'm surprised they didn't get Hunter Renfrow, but then it turns out Jalen Naylor can do the trick. I was surprised it took them that long to sign Stephon Gilmore. So
Hmm.
what I kind of settled on in early August was they like their roster. Otherwise, they would have signed these guys. And then at
Yeah.
running back, I think they value Gaskin more than Joe Everman does. So if he's the RB3, that's fine with me. Like, you rarely have to use an RB3. It's just
Yeah.
last year, everybody Madison sucked foremost, and then
Right.
Chandler was hurt to start the season, so we needed to get Cam Akers. And thankfully, those veteran running backs are always available. I mean, they could sign Kareem Hunt tonight if they wanted to. All right, we got one more left, and that is on the naughty side. What you're apprehensive about for Vikings Giants?
I'm gonna need you to help me out with this one because I don't have any apprehensions other than the general ones. The nerves of it being the first game and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So
I
help me. I have to lean on you for this.
Yeah, I think, and this isn't exclusive to the Giants game. It's the interior pass rush on defense. The solution in the middle was Jerry Tillery, and he played pretty well last year. He had like a 67, 68 PFF. But in a free agency period where there were about 7 defensive tackles who were, big name, the Vikings came out with 0 and then said, "Hey, we're getting Jerry Tillery." So I think a theme throughout the season, unless Levi Drake Rodriguez is really good, we're
Yeah.
gonna wish for or start to look at the 2025 draft for a premier defensive tackle. But that's like you said, that's kind of nitpicking because I've been impressed how they've bounced back from the cornerback CB adversity with Kyrie
Yeah.
Jackson's passing and Mekhi Blackman's ACL tear. They didn't just do nothing. They've signed Duke Shelley
Right.
for a few weeks. They got let's see, Fabian Moreau, who they evidently like, and then Stephon Gilmore finally, who was
Mhm.
really good. So um I think the interior pass rush is a little cause for concern. but that is really getting down into the weeds trying to find the one weak spot on the roster. So next week is when
Yeah.
I will ask you for a prediction on this game. Always remember too, before Jordan Addison got arrested and on everybody's naughty list, he like guaranteed, or no, what he said, he was chit chatting with somebody on Instagram, where some Giants fan said we're going to beat your ass week 1, and Addison says
Oh.
like, "Are you sure about that?" So that gave me some rejuvenated hope that the Vikings could beat the Giants, but then Addison went on everybody's shit list because of the arrest, and I was like, I don't know, the guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
I forgot about that, but whatever. If we got to get hyped up somehow, so just yeah, use it.
Anything else on your mind
Inject
about these?
anything.
Yeah,
Anything else on my mind?
about the Vikings.
Not really. It's just so exciting to finally see what this is all going to look like. I know I've said this a bunch, but this is just this team this year looks so completely different than any other season that we've seen the last handful of years. And there's so many unknowns. There's so many things we don't know what they're going to look like, and I just can't wait to see how that all plays out. And starting on the 8th, we
If
will.
if we were going to try to compare your emotions leading into last season, maybe 2022, but
Uh-huh.
that was different because O'Connell was brand new. Are you more optimistic now, even with McCarthy sidelined for a year, with Darnold instead of Kirk? At least optimistic about the new feel.
I'm trying to remember. I kind of think last year leading into, I was pretty excited because
Mm-hmm.
they had just came off of making the playoffs, and even though they won a bunch of games they weren't supposed to win. But in general, yes, I'm so much more excited about this season for all the reasons that we've talked about, even without JJ here, because we know it's a building season. We obviously wish JJ was here; that would make it a lot better. But yeah, it's a fresh look, and yeah, I'm a lot more excited, I think.
It's the
I
first
don't
season in ages, probably pre Mike Zimmer, maybe the first year of Mike Zimmer, where we're going into a season and no fan is too upset about 7-10 or 8-9. That used to be the bane of anything on social media. Hey, Vikings are going to go 9-8 or 8-9 for the playoffs. It
yeah.
used to be like naughty to say that.
Yeah, and I was just thinking like it will be a good bonding experience, I think, for our community. There's going to be a lot less arguing and a lot less personal attacks, because everyone's pretty much going to be on the same side, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
not going to all be arguing over the quarterback situation. There is no alternative. This is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. And I think we will be able to take a lot of focus off of criticizing the quarterback all the time and really embrace everything else that's going on with all the other positions and give them attention. And then we're off in 2025.
Yep, and we are only 9 days away. All right, Sally, we'll probably talk, you and I, schedule pending, next Friday. So we will only
Okay.
be a couple days away. We'll go through some emergency takes about the Vikings Giants. Anything else?
No, can't wait to see you this weekend.
Yeah, we will see you with two
Good.
Basset Hounds. Hopefully Thor will be there. And then on the telecast here, we'll see you in about a week. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
All right, later.